I was a simple little girl, born a Kashmiri Pandit, to an Indian army officer father and an economics lecturer mother. We lived in towns and cities you'd have never heard of in your life. Towns and cities like Panagar, Talbehat, Nagrota, where the train just stopped for 1 minute, and in that 1 minute, you had to throw off your bedding rolls, throw off your trunks, and throw off your sails also before the train chugged off the station. I've lived in basic government accommodations where some days water wouldn't come through the tap or the flush tank. I've gone to school in olive green 1-tons, which tossed you around so much that your bottoms hurt. My father stayed away for many, many years on the front combating terrorists, while my mother stayed at home with us, combating us, the terrorists, my brother and me. So that was my childhood, and what I remember about me as a child was that I was painfully shy. I was very reserved, I was underconfident, I was very complex as a child, and I was a daydreamer. I would dream all day. That was my favorite pastime. I was also a huge rebel without a cause. And I was one of those kids who would place a stardust behind a physics textbook on the eve of my 10th board examination and read that instead of, focusing on the physics. So when college time came, my father made sure that he sent me to study business management at Delhi University. I hated it. I hated accounts. I barely passed my final year of accounts. Even now, even today, I hate accounts, not the incoming part though. Then the daydreamer in me took over, and I said, no, abhi ho gaya ye, I'm going to go study filmmaking, okay? And I made sure that I got admission in the postgraduate degree course at the AKJ Institute of Mass Communication in Delhi. I went in to become a filmmaker. I came out an anchor. What happened was that we had filmmakers who came into our studios all the time. Someone saw me there. Someone picked me for a television show. So technically, my career actually began with television. And then events started happening. They started pouring in. But through the first few years of my career, I constantly mulled and I mused whether this was what I wanted to do. And before I even could decide, Dame Destiny had taken over and I was talking the stage. Do I love what I do? I still don't know. Am I good at what I do? I don't know. I don't think about it. Am I successful at what I do? Well, that's open for judgment. But there's one thing I'm very sure of, that what I do loves me back. Otherwise, my spirit would have been broken by now. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's been fun too. So when I step on stage, what happens is that the caged animal, the caged dancer, the caged actor, the caged singer, the caged writer, all of these find expression. Like Michael Jackson once said, that stage is my home. Stage is where I feel the safest. I think that applies to me as well. So the first look at stage, and I feel this tug, and my first step on stage, and I feel the power rush through my veins. I feel this all-encompassing wave just engulf me and take me over, and I start to surf. I feel these fairies, these goblins, these gremlins, these elves all around me on stage, telling me, whispering in my ear and saying, okay, now, shift right. Okay, now, turn left. Okay, now, curl in. Okay, now, unfurl. Okay, now, hit high. Okay, now, hit low. They play me like a magical force play a puppet. And I truthfully submit myself to this force. And it is my whole truth that connects with the audience's truth. And that's where the connection happens. So basically, my black magic recipe would be truth, feelings, and magic. I think it's my utmost duty to connect with them at every level possible. It's very important as a talker for you to place your audience on a pedestal in your mind. It's only then that they will love you back. So for me, every member of my audience, man, woman, or child, is my God, is my savior. I'm but their humble servant. I'm also their naughty king, because I'm having fun along the way. The big stuff actually began in 2012, when post-marriage and post-baby, I said, okay, now I want to get back. I want to proactively drive my business again. I want to work, la-di-la-di-la, let's go back. And that la-di-la-di-la, just full stop there. In 2012, I remember how one evening I got a call from a very important client, saying we have a last-minute rehearsal scheduled at 9:30 at night. I was a new mother. The nanny was on leave. I couldn't go. I literally begged that, can we just work this around? And no, they just cancelled me off the show. That night, I remember, I cried. I cried a lot, and I'm not someone who really cries. And I told myself, what is this happening? Why am I being punished for, being a mom and being married? And it went on. 2013, 14, 15, and a huge part of 16. I found myself walking against an unrelenting tide. Every door was, actually, almost every door was shut on my face. Almost every phone call I made was not received. Almost every mail I sent out was not responded to. Almost every friend had moved on. It's okay, it's all professional. Silly of me, actually, silly of me, because I thought all that was needed was the ability to talk, the skill to write, and the drive to deliver professionally. Silly of me. That's not what is required. When I came back, I was told that, hey, sit at home, look after the house, look after the baby. Arey, koi problem to nahi hai. Is the husband not making enough money? Why are you back? Hey, you're much beyond the standard acceptable age for a female anchor on Indian stage. Hey, you're overweight. You're beyond standard acceptable weight for an Indian female anchor on stage. I was told all of this. I was told, so theek hai na, you're talented, but you're not hot and you're not glamorous and you don't know how to market yourself. And I said to myself, okay, I thought only the ability to speak and the skill to write and the will to deliver was required. Okay, let's see what we can do about this. And I started to look inwards. And I wiped the slate clean. And I unlearned everything that I had learned in the past, and I relearned everything that I needed to learn for this new age that I had actually come back into to work. There were just 3 or 4 friends who stood by me, and there were 2 strangers who stood by me back then. And for those few people, even today, I'm only a call away. So things started falling into place. I evolved before I dissolved. And magically, one day, those very things that were perceived as my weaknesses began to be perceived as my strengths. And they began to be emulated. And here I was back in an industry where I once thought was mine, where I had to make my way back with so much of difficulty. And if there's only one thing that I'm proud of, is that I made this journey back completely on my terms, with my ethics, with my principles, and most importantly, with my dignity in place. I'm not bitter about it. You know why? Because almost everybody came around. Yeah. And today, I am ageless, I am weightless, I am genderless, and I think I'm forever. That's the nice part. That's why I'm not bitter. But that's not important. What happened with me is not important. What is important is that never again will a door be shut on a good female anchor only because she's overweight, only because she's supposedly overweight, and only because she refuses to play, I'm Barbie, you are Ken. I hope that will never happen again. Look at the world, look at the world. Billy Crystal at his age used to host the Oscars. Ellen DeGeneres at her age is talking her way to glory. Oprah Winfrey at her age is one of the richest entertainers and talkers in the world. I have a vision. I have a vision for India where female anchors in India will be freed from the bondage of age and looks. And I hope I can make this vision come true for the category that I hope I today represent. So, to make a vision come true, what do you have to do? You have to make sure that you put out flawless work, flawless quality of work out there. And how do I approach my work to try and achieve that flawless quality? It's a very instinctive process, but I'm still going to try and put on the science hat and spell this out for you. So I use a few quotients which I bring together to create the live quotient of that day. And these quotients are the truth quotient, the freedom quotient, the emotional quotient, the impact quotient, the look and feel quotient, and the content quotient. And I work by customizing these quotients to create the quotient of that particular day, event, or audience. For example, if I was talking to an audience that comprised of global heads of state, all excellencies, all very powerful, inanimate, stoic, and they come with one added blessing that they think they know the best. the freedom quotient. At such events, I'm handcuffed. My heart and my mind is in handcuffs. There are clear boundaries, protocol is paramount, every word I say has to be correct, everything has to be rehearsed 100 times. The impact quotient. I cannot let their stature come in way of me attempting to create magic for them at that particular point. I have to be highly confident, highly driven, and every word I say, every sentence that I say has to resonate with power and penetrate them as an audience. The impact quotient. The look and feel quotient. For an event like this, I would probably wear a color that didn't overtly represent a particular nation or culture. I would make sure my hair is no fuss, my makeup is just right. There are two quotients that remain constant around all shows. One is the truth quotient. I believe that nothing fake works on stage. It has to be true. Only then will the audience accept it, take it in, respect it, and love it. So the truth quotient applies to every single piece of work that you do as a talker. Three things: truth, magic, feelings. That's the way it goes. So when you go into a show, all of us try and understand the audience. We try and understand why we are actually there speaking, what is the impact we are required to make, what is the takeaway we have to make sure. But at the end of this all, I'm going to say there's one quotient that is the most important of them all, which is the content quotient. And when we're talking to an audience like global heads of state, your content has to be a classic. It has to be a Van Gogh, a Salvador Dali, or a Hussein. It's only then will they listen to you and respect to what you're saying. Going forward, I feel that every opportunity to talk should not be taken up. You have to see whether you fit the bill or not. Because if you don't fit the bill and you still push against your soul and go in and do that work, they're going to know, the audience is going to find out, because they can see it in your eyes, they can judge it in your body language, they can hear it in your voice, and no amount of money can substitute the loss of flawless reputation. I feel as a talker, your reputation is of paramount importance to you and to your career. For all these years, I've stood at the end of the starship line and said, talk the stage, because I know that one year, in the years ahead, I may just stand at the front of that line and say, hey, I can talk the stage. Can you? Thank you.